Exodus 23, a profound chapter. It lays down the law, not just any law, God's law, a blueprint for a just society, woven into the fabric of Israel's existence. It's more than rules, it's about principles, fairness, integrity, compassion. These aren't just for then, they're for now, for us. Imagine ancient Israel, a nation newly born, freed from slavery, standing at the foot of Sinai. God speaks, He gives them laws to govern their lives, laws to shape their society. These laws are the heart of Exodus 23. They are a covenant, a sacred agreement between God and His people. This covenant wasn't just legalistic, it was deeply moral. It spoke to their hearts. It challenged them to be better, to act justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly with their God. It was a call to be different, to reflect God's character in their dealings with one another. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Simple, profound. This commandment underpins a just society. Imagine a courtroom. An innocent man stands accused. A false witness steps forward. Lies spill from his lips. The jury is swayed. Justice is perverted. The truth is lost. False witness destroys lives. It shatters reputations. It sows discord among brothers. It undermines the very fabric of trust. Exodus 23 calls us higher, to stand firm for truth, even when it's costly, even when it's unpopular. Truth is the bedrock of justice. Without it, society crumbles, relationships fracture, chaos reigns. Exodus 23 reminds us, truth matters. It's our shield, our sword, our unwavering commitment. You shall not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Remember their past. They were once foreigners, vulnerable, exploited. God protected them. Now, they must do the same. Imagine a weary traveler, arriving in a new town. He's met with suspicion. Doors are slammed in his face. He's denied food and shelter. He's left alone, afraid. Exodus 23 paints a different picture. A picture of hospitality, of open arms, of kindness shown to those in need, treating strangers with respect, offering them aid. It's not just good manners, it's a reflection of God's heart. He watches over the vulnerable. He calls us to do the same, to show compassion, to offer a helping hand. Section 4, Sabbath, a time for renewal. 6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its produce, but in the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow. The Sabbath year, a radical concept, a year of rest for the land, for the people. A time to reconnect with God. Imagine a farmer working tirelessly, toiling in the fields year after year. He's tempted to push harder, to produce more, but then comes the Sabbath year, a year of rest, a year of trust. He lets the land lie fallow. He trusts God to provide. The Sabbath year was a reminder. God is the ultimate provider. It was a time for spiritual reflection, for families to reconnect, for the poor to be cared for. It was a testament to God's goodness, a reminder of His faithfulness. Section 5, Celebrations of Faith. 3 times a year you shall keep a feast to me, festivals, woven into the fabric of Israelite life, Passover, Pentecost, Tabernacles. Each one held deep meaning, each one pointed back to God. Imagine the excitement. Families traveling to Jerusalem, joining their fellow Israelites. They celebrated God's deliverance. They offered sacrifices of thanksgiving. They remembered His faithfulness. These festivals weren't just parties, they were acts of worship. They were times of spiritual renewal, of communal celebration, of passing down their faith to the next generation. They strengthened the bonds of community. They reminded the people of their identity. They were a vibrant expression of their faith. Section 6, Living a Life of Righteousness. Exodus 23. A blueprint for a just and compassionate society. It calls us to be people of integrity, to seek justice, to show kindness to strangers, to honor God in all we do. These principles are timeless. We may not live in ancient Israel, but the principles of Exodus 23 are still relevant. They challenge us to examine our own lives, to root out injustice, to be beacons of truth and compassion in a hurting world. It's a call to action, to be the change we want to see in the world, to build a society on the foundations of justice, integrity, and compassion. It's a high calling, but it's a worthy one. It's a call to reflect the very heart of God.